Welcome to the Full True Tactical Range by Range Systems. I'm Bo Dobuzinski, lead instructor for SEAL Mindset Training, and this is your Drill of the Week. This week's Drill of the Week, we're going to talk about 3 different ways that we can clear our cover garment. When I speak of a cover garment, I generally mean something like this, or a coat that you would wear that would be zipped up. I don't spend a lot of time working with things like the tactical vest and stuff. To me, the tactical vest and the fanny pack setup just scream gun. And so I typically work with the assumption that I don't want people to know that I'm carrying until it's time for them to know. And so carrying in a t-shirt like this is, generally speaking, the way that I would normally set myself up. I also carry a full-size firearm. I think by proper placement on the body that you can conceal bigger guns, even depending if you're a small person or a big person. It doesn't make a whole lot of difference. It's all about where you put the firearm on the body. What we're going to do is we're going to work 3 different types of clearance drills to get to your handgun under that cover garment. For our target today, what we're going to do is we've got a target set up ballpark between 5 and 7 yards, well inside that area that a handgun battle is going to occur. And we're going to set our target to be a human silhouette with an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper center mass. If you're getting really good at this, you've been doing the drills of the week, you've been doing your shadow gunning, coming to classes, then what I would do is I'd start to transition away from using 8.5 by 11 and start getting into using half of an 8.5 by 11. Because as soon as you do that, it brings our shots in more towards the center line of the body, more likely to hit spinal cord or major organs like the heart and lungs. And then you can also take that 8.5 by 11 and slide it up from the neck to the top of the hairline to do what some trainers are now calling center of face shots, which are useful if you're having to deal with an active shooter or a terror threat. We're going to work that target at that distance, and we're going to do 3 different types of single shot draws. The idea being is we want to develop our speed based upon these 3 types of cover garment clearances. Well, the first one that we can do is the double rake. The double rake runs using both hands, so I'm going to rake my cover garment out of the way 2 times instead of the 1. The benefit to doing the double rake is that when I do the double rake, I am way more likely to get that firearm completely clear, which means now when my hand goes onto the grip of the handgun, it's way more likely that I've got a clear area out, I'm not fumbling with anything, there's nothing in the way, clear access to the firearm. The drawback is that because I have to use both hands in the draw, it's a little bit slower than a single rake. So a double rake would be hand number 1 going to trace up the backside, clear out once. Hand number 2 comes across as close to the same way that hand number 1 was traveling, and that also clears all the way up. And both times I'm trying to get that support hand up here as close to the center line of my body as I can. I want to try and stay away from letting the hand come over here on this side so it doesn't get swept in the draw. So pulling it across to the middle. That now leaves open for me to come down, seat my hand on the firearm, and produce the handgun. So again, double rake, nice and slow. Hand 1, hand 2, seat the handgun, out it comes. The next one that we're going to work on is what's called the single rake. The single rake is where I only clear the garment using one hand, and that one hand is going to be with my support hand. The benefit to doing this one is it's very, very fast. So once that garment is cleared with the support hand, primary hand can go right to the handgun grip, pull out the firearm, and you can start to engage. So in this case, when we start to do our draw with the single, rather than this one tracing up the body, this hand is going to move to its pre-draw position right behind support hand as it goes for the garment. So the support hand will go for the garment as deep as it can get, grab a hold, pull again all the way as close to center line as possible. Primary hand comes back to that just above position, so we get our down up and the firearm is out. So again, the benefit is it's very, very fast. The drawback is if you screw up the single rake, there's a good shot that you grab your cover garment as you're producing the firearm. So what'll happen is you'll get to here and see how my hand grip is still covered by the shirt, and now I come over here and I grab, and I end up being like this, hanging on to both shirt and gun at the same time. Now, I can go back to both hands and sort of get that shirt to come loose, but there'll be a hiccup. It can slow you down. and sometimes there's bobbling with the firearm as it comes out. This obviously is bad for us. We don't want that to happen, because if we start to bobble the firearm in the midst of that physiological response to stress, good shot, we don't get the gun out in the time that we need it to be produced to defend ourselves. So single rake, and we're up and drawing. The last type of clearance is going to be primary hand only clearance. With that one, the only hand that's going to be engaging and clearing the cover garment is going to be the primary hand. So the support hand will come up onto my index position onto the body, and the primary hand will do all of the clearing to get to the firearm. This is actually a skill that you need to learn how to do, irrespective of whether you choose to do the double rake or the single rake. The reason being that you have to learn how to do it is if we do retention, so I'm fighting with somebody really, really close, I'm covered and unprotected, I have to clear that gun using only the primary hand, because this one is going to be occupied dealing with the fact that my threat is just about on top of me. Also, if I have to, for some reason, engage in low light, same type of draw process is necessary. I have to loop the ring over my finger. I'm here, I'm indexing, and I have to draw using just that primary hand. So with this one, we clear out again from the back towards our buttocks as far as we can get. Once it's up and it's cleared, I'm going to do a little twist move. So I'm going to take this part of my thumb and put it against my rib cage. That allowed me to put it against the rib cage, keeps that shirt out of the way, the cover garment out of the way. So now that I can press down into the hand grip, pull up the firearm, and I'm engaged to be able to shoot. You can pretty clearly see that there's a definitive difference between speed and how quickly you can get to that firearm, and also how secure you are in getting it. And there's always this game that's being played back and forth. How secure something is versus how fast can you access it. And that goes for how you set up your security in your home, all the way to how you're clearing your cover garment to access your handgun in a self-defense situation. My personal suggestion is that you really need to be able to do all three of these. The reason why I suggest that is if for some reason you're wearing a whole bunch of layers. I live in the frozen tundra of Minnesota, and so for 6 months out of the year, you're wearing multiple layers of clothing, and you've got to get through all of those layers of clothing to get to the handgun. Well, it's much easier to do that with the double rake than it is to do it with a single. But in the summertime, if you live in a warm place, the single rake is a great option because it's way faster to get to that firearm when you need it, and we as defenders are always behind the power curve. And then, of course, the primary hand only clearance. Well, if you're ever going to carry a flashlight or be in retention situation, which most handgun engagements are in retention situations, you need to be able to get to that firearm and get access without having to use that support hand. So work on these drills, take your time, do them all in dry fire plenty before you do them in live, and we'll see you in the next drill of the week. Like what you saw? Subscribe to my YouTube channel and keep checking out the training blog for more tips and drills. If you'd like a PDF copy of this training drill, go to sealmindsettraining.com and to the PDF download section. There, type in the promo code
drill number 33.